Now, some people wonder how we are able to achieve so much within so short a time. I have my way of explaining this, and I have to introduce some Cantonese, okay? It is summed up in the following way. 天時地利人和. In English, it's timing, location, and people. So the people part is similar. So in timing, our founding fathers saw the need for science and technology education and research in Hong Kong as our manufacturing base moved north to China about 2 decades ago. In location, we are right next to the recent Asian economic boom and a fast rising China. In people, we set very high standards in attracting the best faculty from around the world, hire exclusively on merit, and they in turn have attracted excellent students both locally and globally. So this is very much aligned with what Professor Hamilton has mentioned. Now let us return to a very fundamental question. What is the essence of a world-class university? I can tell you what it's not. It is definitely not about providing a narrow vocational training. In Hong Kong, unfortunately, many students often choose their programs with definite job prospect in mind. But in these fast-changing times, how many people stay in their first job, or even their second or third job? So, if not for vocational readiness, what kind of student do we want to accept or educate? We look for and we will train students who can think critically, creatively, independently, and see the big picture. In this objective, and you've heard, I believe that the Oxford goal and the HKUST dream is the same. But the two universities are actually different in their social environment. Hong Kong is very lucky to be in the backyard of one of the world's fastest growing economy, hungry for science and technology. This presents us with an opportunity and challenge a few places enjoy. I dare say that even Oxford doesn't quite enjoy this advantage of proximity and intimacy. In a recent report, the State Research Council in China specifically recommends Hong Kong to develop science and technology in support of national development. If we continue to put all our eggs in the financial services basket, we may soon break the eggs. In fact, the recent survey shows that Hong Kong is no longer the most competitive Chinese city in innovation. Science and technology is about innovation. Yet, in this city, the popular obsession is playing the stock market or the property market. This is essentially a gambling activity in which the returns can be very immediate. In a sense, Hong Kong is Macau with property and stock market casinos. Basic research, however, never yields immediate results. You will remember that Hong Kong's own Nobel laureate, was mentioned before, Charles Kao, had to wait more than 30 years to see the fruits of his breakthrough research. But make no mistake, science and technology is the wave of the future and our guarantee of future prosperity. The US, for example, where I worked for 30-some years, has all kinds of problems now, and yet is still technologically the most dominant force in the world. And having worked in the National Science Foundation in the US, I know with the Obama administration, it is making heavy investment in science and technology despite the current financial problem that the country is facing. Professor Rick Levin, Professor Hamilton's former boss, the president of Yale University, who was also at the Nanjing Forum, where we both were, has a message for Asian educators. Give up rote learning and nurture critical and creative thinking. He believes, he mentioned explicitly, that Japan has gone stagnant because its education is typically Asian and that it has failed to innovate. In fact, he said at the Nanjing conference that if Google, Microsoft, and Apple were Japanese companies, Japan would still dominate the world economically. We here in Hong Kong has all the freedom and the means to have the best of both the Western and the Asian system. So parents and principals, please keep this in mind when you are helping the young to make their education choices. In the end, it is not vocational skills, but fundamental knowledge and innovative thinking that will serve your children and students longer and better. To most people in Hong Kong, science and technology is something remote and abstract. Some say that if you cannot plug it into a wall socket, it is not science. In the presence of Professor Hamilton, who is a chemist and a scientist, I offer you a quote from a clever man. It goes like this. If it squirms, it's biology. If it stings, it's chemistry. If it doesn't work, it's physics. And if you can't understand it, it's mathematics. Here's a chemist, here's a mathematician. So I don't want to go more than that. But now let me return to the theme I harped on before. The essence of a global education means getting out of Hong Kong and surviving in a different culture or country. If you can get into Oxford, or those of you students here, I urge you to consider it seriously. But I would also urge you to consider university in Hong Kong, in particular HKUST. See which one suits your academic interest, geographic connections, and career aspirations. What would be a simple choice 40 years ago when I got out of school, even 20 years ago, deserves a more nuanced consideration in this age of what Yale President Levin calls the rise of Asian universities. That was the title of a speech he delivered to the Royal Society a couple of months ago. For the principals, teachers, and education officials sitting in the audience, I have this to say. Hong Kong is in the midst of reforming its secondary and tertiary education. We can only succeed at the university level when you succeed in the secondary schools. Don't forget, this is called 3-3-4. 4 cannot do much if 3 doesn't work. I'm a mathematician. You are our partner in education. For my part, I solemnly pledge that I will do all I can to see that HKUST continues to climb higher as a world-class university through research mentorship, innovative training, and the most selective international recruitment. And now in closing, I offer a story that Professor Hamilton himself told at his installation last October. We did our homework. He said that 2 hikers were being chased by a bear. One of them quickly put on his sports shoes. The other told him not to bother because he could never outrun the bear. But his friend said, I don't have to run faster than the bear. I only have to outrun you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at HKUST, we want to run faster than the bear. And that's why I hope one day we will catch up to old Oxford. I just hope it won't take 900 years. Thank you very much.